It's Friday, the 17th of March, 2023. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes, and I tell you what, it has been a massive 24 hours for business news. Story number 1, the unemployment rate has fallen back down to 3.5% after more than 64,000 people found work last month.
Yes, it was a bounce back that many economists expected after 2 pretty weak months. The jump in February reflected a 74,900 increase in full-time workers, partially offset by a 10,300 fall in part-time employment. The number of people looking for work rose as well. The labour market is very strong at the moment, even if some leading indicators think it might be peaking. What's of real interest to most of us is what it means for interest rates. The Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe last week said jobs data is a key determinant of whether the board will deliver an 11th consecutive rate rise at its board meeting in 2.5 weeks' time. But the world has changed plenty in the past week. We had the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank in the US, a massive sell down over the past 36 hours of a Swiss bank. We'll tell you about that in a moment. That's triggered a sell-off in bank stocks and more uncertainty around the economy. And the Reserve Bank and other central banks don't want to be encouraging financial instability through higher interest rates. Plenty of market economists out there now saying the Reserve Bank might not lift interest rates in April, and a few more who think they shouldn't.
Sean, story number 2, you teased us there with the Swiss sell-off. What's happening on international markets?
Well, it's all about the growing disaster at Credit Suisse. It began when the chair of the Saudi National Bank, which bought 10% of Credit Suisse last year, ruled out providing the Swiss lender with any more assistance. That triggered a 30% fall in the bank's share price. Could you imagine one of Australia's big banks losing 30%? Incredible. Swiss regulators moved quickly. Credit Suisse said it's going to borrow $54 billion from the central bank. It's just one of those organisations which has really been hit hard. It's been hit by the collapse of Archegos Capital. It's been hit by the collapse of Greensill. What it is there's massive fears of financial contagion because so many other global banks, including Australian banks, deal with Credit Suisse. That's what that's all about. That sent the local share market much lower yesterday. It ended up down 1.5%. Oil stocks were sold off. BHP, Rio Tinto and Fortescue Metal were dumped as well. Some of the banks did really poorly, particularly ANZ and Westpac. In fact, there was just red ink across the market, Michael.
Sean, on to story number 3 now, and a bit more on the energy crisis that's looming in the Australian market. The regulator has warned some Queensland exporters may need to divert gas to domestic customers this winter.
Yeah, so the Australian energy market operator said the action might be needed to head off shortfalls in the southern states. And within 3 years, LNG exporters may have to break into long-term sales contracts with Asian customers to look after local supplies. In short, the East Coast faces gas shortages every winter for the next 3 years. Investment is needed in gas development all along the East Coast. But the regulator had a pointed warning about government regulation. Canberra's intervention into the market last year through price caps and ongoing price regulation might mean increases won't be as large as they would have been otherwise, but it's also caused several projects to stall and raised uncertainties about new projects. It demonstrates the downside of the intervention, long-term higher prices.
Sean, story number 4, we've talked a lot about companies being subject to cyber attacks recently, and we can add this one to the list, a big one. Latitude Financial says a hacker appears to have stolen up to 103,000 copies of customers' identification, more than 97% of which are driver's licenses.
Yes, it says it was hit with a sophisticated and malicious cyber attack leading to the theft of the IDs as well as 225,000 customer records. It says unusual activity has been detected on its systems in the last few days and is believed to have originated from a major vendor used by Latitude. Now, the group's taking steps to contact affected customers. It's spoken to law enforcement agencies. It's the latest in the growing list of cyber attacks locally. Now, Optus and Medibank, we spoke plenty about that late last year, but it's happening every week. I mean, literally, an ASX-listed company every week is putting out an announcement about a cyber hack. For example, yesterday, Intellectual Property Services Group, IPH, said it had been hacked, sending its share price much lower.
All right, last one, Sean. Story number 5. Singapore's Changi Airport has taken back the title of world's best airport, dethroning Qatar, which has held the title for 2 years.
Yes, Qatar's been bumped back to number 2, followed by Tokyo's Haneda Airport, according to the Skytrax World Airport Awards 2023. Seoul came next, and then the first European airport, Paris's Charles de Gaulle. No US airport managed to make the top 10. In fact, Seattle was the best of the North Americans, coming in at 18, just one spot ahead of Melbourne, which was the best of the Australian exports. Some others of interest: London's Heathrow was 22, Brisbane was 23, Hong Kong 33, Sydney came in at 49, and JFK in New York at 88.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Friday, the 17th of March, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.